Welcome, friends. I hope everyone is well. Today I have appeared before you with a new chapter of darkness and mystery. You are watching the True Shadow Hauntings. Today we will take you on the path of such a true incident where logic comes to an end and bone-chilling terror begins. Our story today is entirely based on real events. This incident is a terrifying supernatural and paranormal experience that occurred in the life of Orion's mother. Due to some abnormal incidents that took place at the four roads intersection in their area, an evil shadow descended upon Orion's mother's life from that very night. After that incident, one after another, horrifying and unknown events began to happen with her. Before listening to the incident, if you are new to our channel, then subscribe right now and give the video a like and stay with us. Because one like and subscribe from you encourages us to search for more terrifying stories and bring them before you. Our first incident today has been sent by a well-wisher named Orion. He has written to us about that dreadful experience that happened to his mother. Let us go back to that incident. The incident is being read out exactly the way Orion wrote and sent it to us.
Hi, I'm Orion. Today, I'm going to tell you about the most terrifying and truly supernatural experience of my life. Through the True Shadow Hauntings, I am deeply grateful to share this story with everyone. This is not fiction. Rather, it is a bone-chilling reality of my life. Today, I will tell you about such an experience which shattered all the equations of my logical mind within a single moment. The incident took place almost 11 years ago. At that time, we used to live in the old railway quarters of the South Lindes area. Those childhood days were hazy and strangely mysterious. In our family, there were mother, father, elder brother, and me. All together, from the outside, a completely ordinary British family. Father was a skilled craftsman of donuts and pastries. But into that well-arranged life suddenly descended such a darkness which none of us had ever imagined. Everything started on a fog-covered morning. There was a three-headed junction in our area, which the locals used to call a portal or a cursed crossing. Mother would take me and my brother to put us on the school bus every day using that exact road. That day, the weather was strangely suffocating. As soon as we reached near the junction, Mother suddenly stopped. I noticed my mother's face seemed to turn pale in an instant. Mother later told us at that exact moment an ice-cold draft seemed to slowly pass straight through her chest. Even in the bone-freezing cold of the UK, that air felt different. It was not cold, it was lifeless. Mother's entire body was slowly becoming numb. She felt as if her body had no weight, as if someone was slowly draining her existence. Somehow, Mother managed to hold herself together until we reached the school gate, but once there, her condition became critical.
Head teacher Mrs. Thompson was shocked when she saw Mother. Words would not come out of her mouth. Her eyes had turned red. Mrs. Thompson seated Mother in a quiet room and gave her hot coffee. But Mother felt that some malevolent shadow, silently, was following her exactly from behind. On the way back home from school, Mother met our old acquaintance, a neighbor, Mr. Grant. He escorted Mother home on his bicycle. But the tragedy was not yet over. In the afternoon, when Father returned home with us, he saw a lock hanging on the main door. Mother was not at home. Later we found out of fear, Mother had gone to Grandma's house in the neighboring village instead of coming home. When we reached there, we saw Mother sitting in the corner of the living room in a peculiar manner. There was a primal fear in her gaze. When Father asked, "What happened, Lauren?"
Mother replied in a very faint voice, "Orion, I am very scared. At that three-headed crossing, something grabbed me. It is not leaving me alone." Father's rational mind still brushed it off as a panic attack. But after that night, Mother's health began to deteriorate in such a way that even modern medicine gave up. Doctors kept saying everything is normal, but Mother was withering away before our eyes. Her once bright eyes had sunk deep into their sockets, and beneath them accumulated dense black shadows. We could not understand what kind of entity had taken residence inside our familiar mother. That was the first time we felt, behind the veil of modern Great Britain, there still exist such ancient dark forces for which no science has any explanation. After Mother's strange illness, our old railway quarters in South Lindes felt like a living grave. Every brick of that Victorian stone house seemed to be carrying an unknown sorrow and terror. The modern British lifestyle around us continued as usual, but the familiar laughter around our dining table had disappeared. Mother gradually locked herself inside a dark room. Doctors called it chronic fatigue or depression, but we knew Mother was not ill, Mother was afflicted.
Right in the midst of this suffocating atmosphere, that night arrived, which still sends a cold shiver down my spine. That day our cousin Iona and her mother, my elder aunt, had come to visit us. Like UK weekends usually are, drizzling rain outside, and inside a family gathering around the lit fireplace. Iona had always been cheerful and mischievous. There were many people in our drawing room, everyone talking, the room filled with the smell of tea and biscuits. But my mother was sitting like a stone statue in one corner of the bed. Her pupils were fixed, as if she was seeing something that we could not see. Suddenly, Mother felt extremely thirsty. Iona was nearby. Mother asked her to bring a glass of water. The layout of her quarters was quite strange. From the kitchen across the veranda, a little distance away, was the bathroom. On the veranda there was an old wooden desk, and beside it a clay pot with filtered water. Right above that desk on the wall, there was a small window through which the inside of the bathroom could be seen directly. As Iona was filling the glass with water, in the dim yellow light of the veranda, her eyes fell on that window. What Iona saw, she was never prepared for. In the dark corner of the bathroom, where the ceramic sink was placed, someone was sitting crouched with their back turned. Iona thought perhaps it was me or my brother playing hide and seek there. But the very next moment, she noticed on that figure's head was unnaturally long black hair. Those sticky, greasy strands were sprawled across the floor like a tangled mass of dark serpents. That posture could not belong to a human. It was sitting in such a way as if the bones of the body were grotesquely twisted. Iona froze for a moment. The glass tumbler in her hand crashed onto the stone floor, shattering into pieces. At her scream, everyone from the drawing room rushed out. Iona was trembling violently, her finger pointed toward that window. In a broken voice, she said, "There is someone in the bathroom, someone with long hair." My elder aunt was a very brave woman. She immediately grabbed a metal torch and entered the bathroom. All of us stood at the door, our hearts pounding, waiting. But what was seen inside the bathroom was even more mysterious. There was no one there. The square bathroom was completely empty, but the window glass was ice cold, while the inside of the bathroom was unnaturally steamy and hot. Iona insisted strongly that what she saw was not an illusion.
Mother then came out of the room. There was no surprise on her face. In a low voice, Mother said, "Iona has only seen it, but it has been with me for over a month. Whenever I stand in front of the mirror, I feel someone breathing right behind me." That night, none of us could stay in that house anymore. On that rainy night, we all left together, without even packing, to our grandma's cottage in the neighboring village. Even Father's rational mind surrendered that day, because the terror in Iona's eyes was beyond any ordinary explanation. The most astonishing fact was, when Father returned alone to the quarters the next morning to collect some essentials, he found several clumps of long black hair lying in that specific corner of the bathroom floor, although no one in our house had hair that long or black. That cursed bathroom of the railway quarters made us realize some doors, once opened, do not close easily. In our modern UK culture, we may be accustomed to seeing ghosts or spirits only on movie screens, but when it sits with its back turned inside your own bathroom, your blood freezes instantly. Iona's horrifying experience plunged our family into extreme turmoil. After staying at Grandma's cottage for several weeks, we thought perhaps the danger had passed. We assumed it was a temporary hallucination or the suffocating atmosphere of an old house, but we were wrong. The supernatural world does not release anyone so easily. A few months later, we returned to that old South Lindes railway quarters, but the very moment we returned, we realized the house had become even heavier and darker than before. It was a calm Monday. The time was around 9:30 at night. On that autumn night, outside, the branches of the pine trees were scraping against the window glass with the wind, making strange sounds. Mother was standing in our bedroom in front of the large mirror. Mother always liked to look tidy. Her golden brown hair had grown quite long by then, but due to illness, her face looked pale, her cheeks had sunken inward. My elder brother and I were sitting on the adjacent bed reading comic books. Father had not yet returned from work. He had gone to a nearby yard to clean some equipment.
As Mother gently combed her hair, suddenly the temperature inside the room dropped unbelievably. I noticed the way breath fogs up on glass. Mother's breath seemed to come out like smoke. Mother suddenly stopped. The comb in her hand was trembling. In the mirror's vast reflection, my brother and I could clearly see Mother, but Mother's eyes were fixed just behind her own shoulder. From right beside Mother's neck, from behind the curtain of her hair, a pitch-black skeletal face slowly emerged. It was not a human face. Its skin was coal-black and clotted, and its eyes were glowing like burning embers. It brought its face right up to Mother's neck, as if it was whispering something into her ear. Mother was completely frozen in terror. No scream came out of her mouth, only her lips were trembling. Mother looked at us through the mirror. In her eyes was the fear of death. Suddenly Mother screamed, "Orion, run! Go get your father! It's standing behind me! It's going to take me!" At Mother's piercing scream, my brother and I were stunned for a moment. I saw the black figure in the mirror pushing its long black fingers into Mother's hair. Without wasting a single second, I ran out of the room toward the yard. Beneath my feet, the sound of wet grass and mud echoed, but in my head there was only Mother's cry. When I told Father everything, he dropped everything and ran straight into the house. When we reached the room, we saw Mother had already taken Grandma and come out to the veranda. Mother's hair had become strangely tangled, as if someone had violently tried to tear it out. On the back of Mother's neck were 3 long scratch marks, just like the claws of some beast. Father held Mother tightly, but Mother was still trembling violently, pointing toward the mirror. When Father looked at the mirror, there was no one there, but an eerie layer of mist had formed on the mirror, and within it was clearly etched an ancient symbol, one we could not understand. That night, Father did not let us stay in that room anymore. We left again in the middle of the night to Grandma's house. While leaving, my elder uncle, who had returned to the quarters to park the car, later told us that while locking the main gate, he saw someone looking down from the upstairs window. A pitch-black figure whose eyes were glowing in the darkness. Mother's condition became like that of a mad woman. Her beautiful hair now looked like a matted bush. Doctors said it was a neurological disorder, but we knew that black entity was now attached to Mother like her shadow.
It was no longer confined to the bathroom or the mirror. It had now directly entered our lives. Behind the facade of modern Britain, that something like a shadow man or a shadow entity could destroy our family, we had never believed that before.
After the horrific mirror incident, our family completely fell apart. Despite living in a modern British society, we could understand Mother was not suffering from a mental illness, but had become the victim of an ancient and powerful demonic entity. Mother's condition was pitiful. Her once radiant golden hair had turned into tangled clumps, deep, dark hollows under her eyes. Eventually, through a family acquaintance, an exorcist was contacted. It was a cloudy Sunday. The sky seemed covered with a massive gray blanket. At our old South Lindes quarters, relatives had gathered, my aunt, uncle, and several neighbors. When the exorcist entered the house, his face was solemn. He chose a spot in the middle of the veranda to perform the ritual. He brought out strange tools, some ancient manuscripts, special herbs, and wood for lighting fire. Before starting the ritual, he looked at all the women present and said in a stern voice, "Everyone tie your hair very tightly. Under no circumstances should hair remain loose. The force we are confronting today spreads its influence through human hair." At his words, a cold dread spread instantly among everyone. Mother was seated in the center, and we formed a circle around her. The exorcist began chanting. Bluish smoke rose from the brazier. After a while, he added charcoal and a large amount of camphor to a brass pan. That pungent, intense, aromatic smoke was spread throughout the house. We were all rubbing our eyes from the smoke, but suddenly we noticed something strange. Although every room filled with the sharp scent of camphor, the small room beside the drawing room had no scent at all. It was completely scentless, as if the air there was frozen. As the exorcist approached that room with the smoke, he suddenly stopped. In a frightened voice, he said, "Where the stench of spirits is strong, no other fragrance can enter. Everyone leave this room." He forced us all out and placed an iron chain on the door. We stood outside anxiously. Inside, the exorcist alone was chanting something. For nearly 10 minutes, everything was silent. Even the pine trees outside seemed frozen. Suddenly, without any warning, a cataclysmic storm seemed to crash upon the house. But strangely, there was no wind outside the windows. The leaves were not moving. That violent wind was coming from inside the house. A powerful, invisible force slammed against the door. We saw the heavy iron chain fell open by itself in the blink of an eye. The next moment, bang! The door burst open violently. A blast of icy wind swept over our bodies. That pair carried the stench of rotting flesh, making us nauseous. I felt that along with that wind, some massive dark entity brushed past us and exited. The exorcist came out of the room. Sweat covered his forehead. Gasping, he said, "Don't be afraid. It has left." For a moment, we breathed in relief, but that relief was short-lived. We thought the modern ritual had worked. But that night, Mother's scream reminded us again that the devil does not give up so easily. That mysterious wind was merely a deception, a fatal bite. Fifth, after that failed ritual, we realized this dark force was far more powerful than our old South Lindes quarters. Mother was turning into a living skeleton day by day. Her behavior was manic. Finally, our neighbor, Freya Auntie, who already knew about paranormal matters, showed us a final path. She advised us to go to someone whose name was a mystery throughout the region, Cha-Cha. He was no ordinary exorcist. He was a spiritual ascetic, or a Guniman. Around 4 in the afternoon, father, grandma, and younger aunt set out with mother toward an unknown place. The place was right by a riverbank. Leaving the modern landscape of the UK behind, when we reached that mystical place, night had fallen. Fog had settled over the river, creating a strange, smoky atmosphere. Mother kept resisting. Her voice seemed changed. Someone inside her screamed, "I won't go! Don't take me there!" Cha-Cha's dwelling was beside an abandoned cemetery on a 2-foot-high earthen mound in a small field. The hut was made of straw and fencing. As soon as we entered, an ancient and mysterious smell filled our noses. In the corners hung several baskets tied with red and black threads. The most frightening sight was several old skulls placed in front of him and strange idols embedded in spiderwebs on the walls. A single dim yellow bulb flickered in the entire room, making the atmosphere even chillier. Cha-Cha understood everything with just one look at Mother. He spoke to her in a strange language, then made a silver amulet, or tablet amulet. He warned sternly, this amulet must remain around Mother's neck for 3 consecutive months. It must not be removed even once. If it is removed, this evil force will take Mother forever. And remember, during these 3 months, that force will try desperately to remove the amulet. After returning home, a new battle began. Every night when Mother slept, she felt as if a massive stone was pressing on her chest. In her sleep, Mother saw that terrifying shadow.
Figure constantly trying to tear off the amulet from her neck. Mother screamed in agony, but the power of the amulet protected her. Thus, we spent 3 months in extreme tension. Every week, Mother was taken to Cha-Cha to recharge the protection. Finally, the decisive day arrived. After 3 months were completed, following Cha-Cha's instructions, Mother was taken to the river ghat. The rule was to wear old clothes, submerge in the river, let the amulet float away in living water, and immediately put on new clothes. That day, the water of the Ganges was unnaturally calm. When Mother submerged, it felt as if a strange wail rose from the river's depths. When Mother emerged, her face was peaceful. For the first time, we saw that familiar maternal warmth return to her eyes. Gradually, Mother's body began to heal. That black shadow, that mirror terror, and those bone-chilling breaths all seemed to dissolve into the river's deep waters. Even today, when I think of those days in South Lindes, my body shivers. Modern Britain taught us science, but that riverbank and Cha-Cha's dwelling taught us that there are forces in this universe we cannot see, but they lurk very close to us. Mother is now completely well, but even today, when we stand in front of a mirror on dark nights, we turn back at least once, because we know darkness never truly ends. It only waits for the right opportunity. So anyway, this is where our incident for today comes to an end. We hope you liked it. Be sure not to forget to let us know in our comments how you felt. And if you have any real-life incident experience, then share it with us. You can send that story to us via email or on our Facebook page. Our email and Facebook page links are given in the channel description box. If you go there, you will easily find us and be able to share your experiences or incidents with us. The real incident stories that you send us, we will publish on our The True Shadow Hauntings channel. Maybe your story will be the terrifying mystery of the next episode.